Hello, everyone. This is Elena, and I am very excited to announce that this is our first ever podcast on my channel. I'm here with Big T. Please introduce yourself.
Make it make sense.
What up? I'm Big T, comedian Tom Farrell, host of Make It Make Sense, THC TV with Big T, amongst other things.
Awesome. And this is your TikTok, Big Tits.
Yeah, it was a play on something when I was going through a TikTok transition. Like not sure what I wanted to do. Just maybe I'll just do eating. And then I just gave up with waving the white flag of them suppressing my content. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do what I love, and I was just doing massaging a teacup Pomeranian with alopecia, 18-year-old. I had the glass. I was just massaging her because we love each other. I was fighting the gout, and I started doing these history videos, just saying, hey, they'll find my comedy eventually. And the name itself, it has nothing to do with Make It Make Sense, but it just took off. And I don't want to touch anything. You know what I mean? I'm leaving it at what it is. They see the symbol. They hear the voice. So that's why it's not on brand. I'm afraid to change it.
That's all right. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for joining me. And for anyone who doesn't know what the old world is, who's watching this, well, you're going to find out. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, now I came across your content on TikTok, Tom, it's been over a month, and something popped up on my screen. One of your videos going viral. This one of the Woolworth building.
Oh, yes. Yes, classic.
And right now this has 1.8 million views, and it just keeps going up and up and up. So people are commenting like, wow, this is like explaining something, or there are faces on here. Who are these people? And maybe these are the builders, maybe these were the architects. Basically, what you're creating content about, just to explain to everyone who's watching, is on the old world, what we call the old world, at least. Some people call it Tartaria. Some people refer to it as a previous civilization or a previous race, whatever it may be, whoever created these buildings. You've just been literally biking around New York City and Brooklyn, where you're from, and just recording this, and they're just blowing up on TikTok, and suddenly people are starting to question. And just like you're starting to question these things too, because it doesn't make sense. So your whole thing is make it make sense. So every time you're recording a video, you're asking people, like, can you make this make sense? Make it make sense. And people are saying in the comments, this doesn't make sense. The way these buildings were built, the times that they're giving us from history, they don't add up. So you're literally documenting these buildings on your TikTok. Right now, you've got just under 75,000 followers, and you're literally going up in probably 1,000 plus followers every single day. So you're reaching more people every day, and more people are being exposed to this. So share with us, please share with us. When did the moment come for you when you started questioning and wanting to make sense of these types of buildings?
Well, thank you for sharing that, and I can't explain any of it. Like I said, it was me as a comedian waving the white flag saying, hey, they'll find me one day. I'm going to do what I love, literally, what like they tell you to do. Like I said, fighting the gout, making jokes, the dog, and then history. I went down a rabbit hole one day of looking at the Statue of Liberty, taking the ferry to the city, looking at the beautiful Manhattan and the Statue of Liberty, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm very curious. I'm like, how did they build the Statue of Liberty? Because you're looking at it from the boat, and then I'm like, oh, hammer this. I'm like, when was power tools invented? I'm like, 10 years later? So then I'm like, little red flag. Then I Googled it. They brought it. They built it in France first, took it apart, and then put it together here. Where, Manhattan? No. That island in the water over there to make it even harder. You know what I mean? Like. And I'm like, if you ever moved and took apart a cabinet, like they never really go back together the same. You know what I mean? Like, especially with no power tools and just the way it looked. And then I just went down a deeper rabbit hole, and then I did this Empire State Building using green screens. And I was hooked because my brain was like, hell, this is getting silly. You know what I mean? 400 days. And you just start seeing the reoccurring things, groundbreaking technology, just the same wording. And then I was like, it was a couple of Google searches where it was 1 year. And like, it was just random searches. And I'm like, hold on, a year? And it gets sillier and sillier. And I laugh about it because what are you going to do? Believe it and just feel like you're being lied to? Or are you going to laugh how silly the story is? And then I went on the road in Maine and I found this church from so far away, Castle. And I just did like 7 videos and they went off. And I'm like, oh, people want to see me do it live? And I went to the city. I did the Trinity Church, and that was really one of the first ones that went crazy of why I kept digging deeper and making more videos. Because I'm like, oh, in this church, you go down Broadway, and it's like I'm stopping, Google searching the American Express building, the American History Indian Museum, which is the wildest sculptures of all time, and the same timeline. As I go down this hole, and you just see same areas, like if not right during the Depression. 1912. You know what I mean? Like, well, around that. And then there's just silly ones. And I'm like, and I just made them. And I was like, it's interesting to me. I'm telling other comics, my friends, and they're all like, what's this guy talking about? Then I posted online in the comments, there's so many supportive people. It is so awesome. Thinking the same thing. And people are like, yeah, man, I would say this every Thanksgiving. And my family laughed at me. Like, people in the comments, like, they're really just fun and awesome. It's a cool bunch of people, but I can't unsee it now. You know what I mean? I wish I was wrong. You know what I mean? I wish. Listen, I love women. My girl, you're so awesome. I wish that the guy's wife finished the Brooklyn Bridge. But in 1880s, like, the 1980s woman had a hard time getting respect, let alone 1880s. Like, come on, man. Like, it's just, but they pull on the heartstrings. You know what I mean? Like, my one friend's like, oh, they gave us the Statue of Liberty for slavery when the video came out. My black friend, I'm like, so now a whole section of people aren't going to question. You know what I mean? Like, no, they gave it to us for stopping slavery. Like, because it's a heartstring moment. Like, how are you going to question that? You know, it was a big moment in history. You know, like, according to what they said, you know? Mm-hmm. But sorry, I just gave you a mouthful. I just got excited. I've been dying to do a podcast about this. You know, I've done podcasts before. Comedy, telling stories about the past. Well, this is stories about the past also, but you know, like, I'm just very excited to be on here talking with you. You know,
awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, this is our space. This is your space to just talk and share everything that's been on your mind. Everything regarding the buildings, the architecture, these old world structures which don't make sense, and you are making it make sense. So yes, thank you for being here.
Oh, and like, people get mad, like, you didn't make it sense. Well, I did make it make sense because there's people that understand it. You didn't understand. You know what I mean? I've been there. You know, I was drinking for a while. I didn't look up. I was looking down. You know, I'm sober. I have time to look up. You know what I mean? Like, certain people were at different phases of life. You know what I mean? Like, some people might have just gotten into a bad relationship and they're still fighting. Like, how could you see the world clear if you're fighting with someone all the time? Your energy's that. Like, we're at different levels of life. That's why a lot of people don't understand it. And a lot of people are like, hey, I like how you present it, because all you're saying is make it make sense. You're not really, you know, besides saying, hey, I don't think they built it, like, it doesn't make sense to me, that part. You know what I mean? I'm not just doing it just to make an argument. Like, what spirit, the gargoyles, and just, I have so many buildings popping in my head as we're talking. You know, just like the nonsense that I see in this. It's a Google search, a quick one. You know what I mean? Like, but it's a lot of the education. You know, people pay for their education. How could you? Some people still paying for it with student loans. How could you know you're making a payment on the 23rd and sort of agree with me or you that goes against what that payment was for? You know, it's tough. I get it.
Exactly. Yeah, it is tough. That's a really good point. Because yeah, it is.
Listen, no one ever wants to be like, yeah, I ordered this sandwich from the deli and it wasn't good. You know what I mean? Like, oh, the guy did it wrong. Like, oh, maybe you ordered the wrong sandwich. Like, you know what I mean? Like we all, just because we paid for it, you know what I mean? You can't just be like, oh, it was good. I paid for the sandwich. No, it wasn't good. You know what I mean? Like, you paid for an education. It wasn't good. We can just be like, all right. Like, we all got beaten some point in one life on something. Like, hey, I didn't. And that's another thing. I lead off. I'm like, hey, I went to 4 high schools. I never opened a book. You know what I mean? Like, and that's people like, oh, that's this guy's a dummy. Like, no, that means my brain's not brainwashed. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and I'll say sometimes like, hey, I live on the beach. I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I'm not just saying that to people. I'm saying that to people who are calling me dumb. How am I dumb if I never opened a book, went to 4 high schools, clearly don't do anything society tells me to do, and I live on the beach? How dumb am I? You know, I'm not in a tent. Nothing against living in a tent. You know what I mean? But like, obviously, I look at the world differently than you guys. You know what I mean? Like, it's clear.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I hear you 100%, Tom, because I'm exactly the same, believe it or not. I actually decided to drop out of school or quit school when I was just 16.
That's, that's brave. You know, that's a jumping in the deep end. You know.
Exactly. So I can relate to you 100%. And a lot of people who watch my videos, I'm pretty sure they understand this because my content is focused on these topics and we help people to sort of awaken their minds to the matrix that is surrounding us, that's keeping people enslaved mentally and spiritually and physically too. So yeah, you're 100% spot on. And I could not agree with you anymore because when people are spending tens and hundreds of thousands for an education, for a degree, qualifications, they don't want to feel like their money's been wasted. Otherwise, how are they going to feel about themselves? How are they going to feel about the world? They'll go into like an existential crisis. And some people do. And some people have a very, very harsh awakening to this world and what it really is all about and what's going on. But the way that you're actually helping people awaken just by simply sharing things in plain sight, buildings that have been here for hundreds of years, I believe thousands, that we're told have only been here for maybe 100 years, maybe 200 max or something like that. But you're just simply sharing it with video in plain sight for everyone to see and to make it make sense for themselves because these things are not adding up. The timelines don't add up, first of all. The history books are not making sense. So when people study these things, even to become a historian or a history teacher or something like that, it just goes against the entire framework of the system and what they've learned. So, you know, it's really difficult for most people to comprehend something outside of what they've been brainwashed to believe their whole lives.
Hey, and listen, like how I said with you, like being brave and just doing stuff differently is what I meant. You know what I mean? Like even us doing this podcast and me doing my thing, we're going against what everyone is doing. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a good thing. Like in gambling, there's a thing called go against the masses. If everyone, I don't know if you're into soccer, football, baseball, if everyone's on the Yankees, like the Yankees are gonna win. They're probably not gonna. It's not 100%, but if the whole society is like the sheep mentality, like you go against the masses, and I'm not doing that just to do it, but you know what I mean? Like I feel like they got the masses, and then there's people like, hey, let's think about this one. Just how about the eye test? You know, you don't have to be an architect to like that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, man. I and some people really just fight me on it in the comment section, and I got to be cool because it's the comment section, and I got more people watching me, so I gotta just sometimes just laugh it off. A lot of times, sometimes I type too much, trying to because you want to get your point across, and I'm like, they just want to yell at me about something else, and you know, it's you're wasting good energy. You know, like we could be talking positive, like, hey, that was a great video. Hey, I know, let's maybe meet up one day, have a coffee instead of fighting people that just I don't know. I'm like, hey, this is what I think. You're allowed to think something different. Or the people that get mad at the sound, the background sound. If we can't agree on that I'm never going to make 100% of the people happy with that. How can we even agree or disagree on other topics? You know what I mean? Like, we can't get past the sound. You know what I mean? In the video, let alone agreeing if we've been lied to. And the thing I fall back on is like my feeling, and I just being lied to. You know, you start the lies start adding up, and as a grown up, and as you get older, you're like, come on, government, like, we're paying taxes. The COVID, the moon landing, whatever they lied about, whatever they still lie about, the Nancy Pelosi and the stocks, and even the Bezos. I always bring up Bezos with the fake ass ship. You know, the Katy Perry where they opened it from the inside. Like, just, it's like a dog and pony show by rich people and the government, and we're over here expected to work and cover the bill. You know what I mean? And like, what year did they start lying? I ask people that question me. Like, we did it. The government loves you. The government doesn't care. I don't know how where you are in El Salvador, right? But like over here, I don't think they don't. Our best interest is in our favor with the red dyes and this, and just the different food you see on TikTok in other countries in the McDonald's alone, let alone in America. You know, like, why can't we have that there? You know, it's just some yoga mat hamburger. You know, in other countries are getting real chicken. You know what I mean? Like. But I don't trust them. And seriously, what year did they start? Just America alone. What year did they start? Tell me. Because if you think, hey, I don't think the moon landed, but that guy make it make sense is crazy. Oh, no. You can't have it both ways. If you question one thing, you got to question them all, even the layups. You know what I mean? Like, even the one that's guaranteed, like, oh, that's the Freedom Town. No, you don't have to question, you know what I mean? But like, question most things at that point. If you question one thing, like, how do you not? But
exactly. Yeah. Once you question one thing, then you start to question everything else. Because if someone is starting to wake up, you could say, you know, it's almost like you've just flicked a switch in your brain, and you could have. It's almost like someone's been wearing a mask or some type of cover on their, like a mental cover, their whole life, that's just kept them from actually seeing what's really around them. And once that, or like a blindfold, basically, once that blindfold is removed, it's like you're in a whole new world, but it's been the same place all along. The only difference is that now you're actually able to see, I would say spiritually, not with our two eyes, but with an inner eye. Some people call it the third eye, okay? And that's just an example. But once this eye actually opens, everything starts to become a lot more clear, and we start to see it from a new lens that wasn't taught to us in school. The authorities, government, people, figures, whoever, they're not going to promote that lens or that angle to you. Those new and enlightened perspectives on reality and of life. These are things that only the individual can really come to understand, I think, in themselves. So even though, you know, you get all these comments from these people who are being ignorant and they don't really understand, and maybe it's not their fault, like as we discussed, but still, they don't have that inner eye is not open for them yet. And for most people, it's not. Most people are still kind of asleep. And so that's why I love what you're doing right now, because you're just literally filming the streets so people can look. Just everything's in plain sight. You know, there's nothing else to it. It's just what's been around us our whole lives. And people are starting to actually take notice of it and look up. And, you know, like you said, when you were drinking a lot, like years ago, you had that problem and you couldn't look up, right? Like most people, they have their own issues. They can't look up. They can't look around them. They're too stuck in here, in their minds. They're too stuck with their relationships, family problems, whatever it may be. So yeah, this is all real. It's very real.
And I didn't mean to get off on the wrong foot about it. It's a small percentage of people, the negative comments, because the positivity in the comments and the love and some funny things, like people like, oh man, I want to get a bunch of Chinese food and a Sprite and watch all your videos, and like it just warmed my heart. I wanted to go order Chinese food and sit with them and watch them, and the things like with people that are saying like, hey, I always thought this, like ever since I watched your videos, now they're just seeing, they're being honest. They're like, yo, I didn't know what you were talking about. Now I see it. And I get these comments and it makes me just like happy. I'm like, you're just opening your eyes. I'm not asking you to do anything else. Just take it in and then take it out. And if it feels the same way on the way out of what they said, I can't help you. But if you feel different, you feel like something doesn't taste right, you know? And it also, even my friends, these are people that don't know me. My friends who, when I was yelling about, look at that building, the Brooklyn Bridge, and at the end of the summer, and they're like, this guy's nuts. They know I'm a little silly. But like, even them, they're like, man, we had it wrong. And like, it's sort of like, yo, smart. You have all these buildings and you just film it like they were right there the whole time. You just looked up and you just started filming them. They're like, that's all it was. I was like, wow, look. The more you look up at Manhattan, I don't know if you see a bunch of my stuff, some of those just really don't. Huge Easter Island statue-looking heads in the 1912. Come on, man. Make it make sense.
Right. Exactly. Make it make sense. Yeah, I hear you. And that's true. You are also receiving so much positivity, as you said, and that's awesome. And, you know, there's always going to be a balance. You know, there's always the yin and the yang. There's always the light and the dark. And it's just about really focusing on the positive, and that's obviously what you're doing. So that's the main thing. Yeah.
And sometimes, and it's so much. I wish it was a yin and a yang. The yang or the yin is winning, and that's the positive side. It's like a high percentage. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm all about balance, but I can't control the love I'm getting in the comment section. If someone says something, sometimes I'll just hit them with the, hey, buddy, look or read the room. I'm going to help you out in life. Read the room. Look around. Do you see any other comments like yours? No, it's all love. Have a great weekend. You know what I mean? Like, if you could change someone like that also, it doesn't have them to be like, hey, I believe in this old world stuff. Hey, I'm not going to be an a-hole. Like, I was right. You know what I mean? Like, other people all liking this guy. I don't know why. And maybe if you change someone in the comments of like, hey, be a better person. You know, the world will be better. You know? It's not all about making it make sense. Maybe try to make some people better people too. You know?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. So I want to go over some buildings with you, and I want to hear your thoughts on these because, again, the dates, they don't make sense. So let's try in this podcast, let's try and make it make sense. I've got some buildings lined up here, some structures, some cathedrals, just a whole bunch, not so many like in every single country, because I know everywhere from China to Africa to Asia, all over the world, they have the same, it's Australia, everywhere. They all have these same types of structures in the centers. Usually it's always like a capital of the country. Incidentally, they make it the capital where they have the most grandest architecture, it seems to be. Something interesting to point out. So let me know, can you see my screen right now, Tom?
Yeah, it just has the Old World Podcast, episode 1, the picture of the...
All right. Awesome. Well, so this picture right here that you see, we took this outside of a cathedral here in El Salvador in Central America, and this cathedral is, I think it's the Santa Ana Cathedral. And I mean, this is made out of pure stone. There is not like a concrete cement type of structure. It's not built with blocks or anything like that. This is all solid stone. I don't know if it is a limestone or what it is, but it's one of those stones that would always be used to build these types of structures, these cathedrals all over the world. It seems to be very similar. And I'm going to zoom in and show you. You can't see the text, obviously, right now because it's way too far. But here, this little plaque, there is a plaque, like a red one at the bottom, you can see between the two flowers. That plaque in the middle, it actually has a name of a Salvadoran man and like a date for, I think it was either sometime in 1900s or something like that, to say that this man, this was the architect and this was the date that it was built. But the thing I noticed about the plaque on this amazing, beautiful cathedral in Santa Ana, Tom, is that the plaque has actually been inserted into the wall. So they've had to carve out a hole to put it there and they haven't even finished painting around the plaque. So there's like streaks of white paint that look like they could have been done who knows how many years ago, not many. And the rest of it's kind of like concreted around like gray. And they haven't even bothered to finish painting it white around the edges. I honestly, I couldn't believe it. I was cracking up with laughter, like how obvious, how lazy as well, because it's very clear that they did not build that. But yet they put the plaque there and they couldn't even be bothered to paint around the edges after they finished putting it there.
But it really is comical. You know what I mean? Like that's why I'm a silly guy. I'm a comic at first, but like me with the like just the calluses, Grandpa Bill, like these characters and lines that I keep coming up with that people are enjoying, like because we have to make light of it because they're making light of it. Like with that, or like I insert plaque here, like or the incisions on the state capitol I did yesterday. Like it's clearly gold painted on. Like it's like had we just accept it for so long? But listen, we're here now, right?
Yeah, exactly. And another thing I saw on this building, Tom, is that they had these giant lizard heads, which we call gargoyles. But what is that? Who even invented that term, gargoyle? You know what I mean?
Well, I always like to make light of it about, you're scaring evil spirits away. It's like, we're outside of church. What do you mean evil spirits? Like, was the devil lurking? Like, come on, join my side. Like, stop it. These are explanations. You're explaining what that thing is there, but that's not an answer. That's your explanation of what you think the answer is when you found it. Like, no normal person. Gargoyles are cool, but like, did you see the Trinity building in Manhattan?
I think so.
It's I think it was in Ghostbusters also, because so imagine they use this movie for a prop in a movie about ghosts and God, like a fake, you know what I mean? Like this building looks so spooky. Let's use it for a movie called Ghostbusters. Like, do you have to build a fake building? No, we got one. It was built in 1912, like, or whatever they said it was built. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, it's comical, man.
It is.
But this one, when you were talking about this, like cut from stone, I was just in Washington. The Washington Monument, as I went down a rabbit hole, friction and gravity is what holds it together. So like they give comical answers, like friction and gravity, which sort of, it's not wrong, right? You know what I mean? Like, because gravity's holding and friction of the bricks touching each other, so it's not wrong, but that's not the answer. You know what I mean? Like, right. It's just funny, man. Friction and gravity.
Yeah, that to me that doesn't really make sense. No. Look, so check this out. This is called, I haven't been to Rome, but apparently this is one of the greatest structures in Rome called the Pantheon. It says that it was built in 113 to 125 AD. Now, this is a big difference to some of the structures in the US, where they say they were built in the late 1800s or 1900, 1910, 1920s, but they look almost the same. This one I see has more wear on it, like you can see the black marks, but one thing I noticed about this, Tom, which I want to hear your thoughts on, is the giant obelisk right in front of this building in Rome. And you've made a video about the obelisk in Central Park too.
Yes.
There's also, go ahead.
No, like even the Washington Monument is just a variation of this. After seeing it up close, like it's just a different variation of this. Like it's probably just from being where I was in Washington with all those other buildings similar to this one. Like I didn't even scratch the surface. There was 20 of these buildings, and you had the state capitol, you had the train station I showed, and I didn't get to everything else yet. A castle, the Smithsonian Castle, and I kept walking to get to the obelisk, that is the Washington Monument. And then you have this, and it was in sight distance, 5 domes like that. Because now I'm looking for these domes because I found the Masonic Temple in New York by chance. And like a lot of these buildings I find are by chance. I'm trying to get to St. Patrick's Cathedral, and I'm zigzagging through Manhattan, and I'm like, oh, look at this thing. And I stop, I Google search. But this stuff right here is a lot of what I just saw in DC. And it's like you said, all the weathering is different, but besides that, everything else is the same. And,
exactly.
and
Like this.
Sorry.
Just like this one you recorded and you uploaded.
Yes. And there was like just streets of like 20, 30 of them, like huge, like, come on, man. And DC's always been right there. We know it was right there. And like people, like I don't know how come we never saw more videos of how like over the top it is. Like how many guys were in office at that time? You know what I mean? There's not even that many that now. Like there's a couple hundred. You didn't need these huge buildings. Come on, man. But the obsolete in Central Park, come on, outside an artifact.
Yes.
Just leave it outside. Weathered, has these little crabs on the bottom. It's huge. Yeah. And then there's people that are telling me, and if I'm wrong, I'll apologize, that they cut a ship open. They cut a ship open, put the thing inside, but no power tool. No, they had cranes. They didn't have cranes. Like the people, like, you can go back and forth what they had or what they didn't have. You know what I mean? We weren't there, but if you Google search, they didn't have cars, they didn't have roads. Well, how would they have cranes? Like that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like if you can make a machine that can lift stuff and get to the site, why wouldn't you drive a car? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't want to lose facts, but just getting that to America and they just gave it to it, like, and we're gonna put it in Central Park, like, yeah. It just and it's a castle in Central Park. You know? Did you know that? A random castle, just a castle. Like, come on, man. Like, at least it's not like a TD bank, because they'll turn a castle into a TD bank, and people are like, nah, they built it for fortitude. So people know it's a bank. Don't come in and break in. Like, these are the answers I get. Fortitude. Like, no, they found it and moved in because castles are cool looking. Like, come on.
Yeah, more like it. Yeah, and that was go ahead.
But the Pantheon, people, when I post stuff, they're always referencing this. And how do you not put something I'm showing and put this next to it and be like, hey, are they cousins? You sure they're not cousins? They're not related? They look the same. Like, yeah. Right? Like, if me and you look the same, we'd be like, yo, it's funny we're doing this podcast because we look the same. You know what I mean? Like, let's say we look the same, right? Like, people look, there's doppelgangers, right? People can say, hey, two things look the same, but they won't do this for a building in Rome and a building in Cleveland. You know what I mean? But if it was a celebrity and your cousin, like Uncle Steve, you look like Tony Soprano or something. You know? But the Pantheon and a church in Wisconsin can't look the same to some people. Like, come on, open your eyes. They look the same. They are the same.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Sorry for getting a little weird with my analogies.
No, it's great. It's great. And yeah, you're completely right. They do look the same. And I mean, what is the difference? Well, that's really the question. So I wanted to point out on this obelisk, this is not just any random obelisk. So the one in Central Park, as you know, is Cleopatra's Needle. They say it's from Egypt. They say that Egypt gifted it to them. But guess what? There's also one in London and in France, in Paris. So why do Rome, London, Paris, and New York in Central Park all share a very similar, identical looking obelisk that is not just a random obelisk that's plain? No, this has Egyptian hieroglyphs on it. Now, this is in Rome, and we have the one in New York, we have the one in France, and in England. Now, Tom, why do you think that Rome in 113 AD would have a hieroglyph, would have an obelisk with a bunch of these hieroglyphs on it, which they say are from Egypt? And why would all these other countries seem to have this too?
Because everything we're told has been a lie. Like when I was questioning today about ships and marble, and people were like, the blah, blah, blahs have been sailing since the blah, blah, blahs. I'm like, yo, how do you know that's true? You know what I mean? Like, if all these other things aren't adding up, like everything's in play, especially Egyptian stuff in Central Park, Rome, France. Like the map, everything we know it goes deeper. And like people always like this slick talk, like, what about the pyramids? Like, and I'm like, which ones? The old ones, the new ones, the ones in America? Which is slick comment, because the comment's pretty stupid because there's multiple ones. You know what I mean? Which the pyramids, those ones. Yeah, how did they build them? You know what I mean? Like the same people that question that or know that those exist, these other buildings, like question it all. That's a red flag that's just sitting there, right? How come these other things aren't red flags? Because they're red flags to me. Just because it's not in the shape of a pyramid. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't add up. Make it make sense.
And this is just this is just wild, you know? Like, and like I said, people in Australia are sending me stuff. People, you know how hard it is to get Australia now? You know what I mean? Let alone whenever they're saying these were built. And like, that's another cool thing about this. I'm getting, come to Kenya, come to this country, come to Romania, come to Nebraska. Like, it's just people are asking me to come to all these places with all these spots. And listen, DC's going off. People are loving it. New York stuff, the Brooklyn Bridge. No, I want to go to Topeka, Kansas, or wherever, Olympia, Washington, small states, and show the grand structures so we can do the numbers. Like, yeah, it was New York. It was Washington. No. Explain why this building's in Olympia, Washington, where had 10,000 people. Like, if I want to go there today in New York, 2025, it's a pain. Let alone moving limestone to Olympia, Washington in 1890 or Minnesota State Capitol. I want to go to these small towns that have no reason to have such grand structures. You know what I mean? New York, DC, those are easy to explain for the naysayers. This is the capital this is the epicenter. All right, show me why Topeka, Kansas, during a dust bowl, you know what I mean? Or a depression, has a state capitol building bigger than my head. Like, come on, man. Or a Pantheon in Iowa. You know what I mean? That's where I want to go. I want to show these small towns. You know what I mean? A small little village in El Salvador with a church bigger than God himself. You know what I mean? Like, just, I want to go to the small places and show, like, do the math here. Anyone can do the math in Manhattan, D.C., make a case for Connecticut, Philly with the first capital, all these other. Do it for the small states. You know what I mean? Do it for a desert state in Texas where there's still tumbleweeds blowing by me. I'm like, I'll do a full circle. No one's here now. You know what I mean? Like, make that make sense. Come on, man. That's what I look forward to. Get on the road in these small towns. Go to the set where it says the town name and show the population. 2,800. You know what I mean? Like today, 2,800 people. Oh, used to be a coal town. Shut up. Stop.
Yeah, exactly. That would be great. That's a really valid point, though, because like you say, people just assume that these things can be built there because it's New York, it's Washington, like here, it's Rome, or it's this place, it's that place, it's Paris. But yeah, what about all those tiny little states that have such a small number of people living there, and even smaller when they say that those buildings were built? Yeah. Another one.
Oh man, I lost my train of thought there, but yeah, I want to get out on the road. My hands are a little tied. I'm branching out. You can see, but I got the dog. She's blind. She's 18, and my girl works from home 2 days a week. I try to take advantage of that, but in the morning I gotta set her up. I feel so bad. Imagine being blind and used to this guy coming out, taking you out, showing you where the food is, like, and then you wake up in the morning, he's not there, you have to pee, you have to go to the bathroom, and then you just start stomping around, bouncing into the wall, and I gotta lay on the floor to calm it down. But, you know, in the future, there will be longer trips, and I'm getting to everywhere. I plan on it. I'm having fun, and people want me to get out there, and they're showing me love. Like, how do I not get out to these people's places? You know, Detroit calling me. I might shoot to Toronto before Christmas. I gotta make it make sense, you know?
Yep, sure, 100%. I look forward to seeing that too. And you know, I want to point out with these buildings, going back to this in Rome, in the Vatican City, you know, everyone knows about Rome and how beautiful these buildings are, but again, people don't question them, right? They don't look at the dates, they don't compare the timelines. Now look, this is a picture of some Italians in, I think, the early 1900s who are drying their macaroni pastas on some like wooden structures here they just make to dry them out. This is the 1900s. This is how people are living, horse, carriage, and so on. Right. But then you've got these structures apparently built 300 years prior to that.
That's
so
wild.
how does that make sense?
It doesn't, man. It doesn't. It doesn't. And I was taking an Uber home from DC. I took the train there, then once I got back, it was late. It was 2 days, like a day and a half on the road. And I had an Uber driver from a place in Africa I never heard of. And I look at the map a lot. I'm not like a geographer. I'm not Columbus, Ponce de Leon, but I know a lot of different countries. I use this knowledge of just random countries. And he came to America during the pandemic. So I'm like, bro, they were lying when you got here. You remember the pandemic? He was like, no. And we're connected. And then we both went to Prague. And he was talking about the clock. And when I said, hey, buddy, what do you think the clock was built? When I told him 1410, this guy was like, I want a shirt, make it make sense. This guy from a small country in Africa and I'm like Googling like mosques from like the 10th, like back in the day. It's an old country where he's from. And once I showed him the clock from Prague that he knows about, with all the apostles coming out, when I told him 1410, like you just showed me 1500s, it's like no way that last church 1500s. How do you not like? I apologize for disagreeing with you. You know what I mean? After that picture, like, come on, man, make it make sense. Yeah, this thing. Like once you said it was 1500s, I'm like, come on, man.
Right. Exactly. And even if they say it took 120 years from 1506 to 1626, still doesn't make sense. How did they have the means to transport all of these hundreds of tons of marble and stone and granite and the scaffolding, everything? Everything is the thing about these buildings, Tom, which I know you recognize because you see them all the time, is the symmetry in the way that they're built, and the geometry is impeccable. It's considered impossible architecture. To this day, we are not able to replicate it with all of the tools and the machinery that we have. And why is that? Why do you think?
Because we didn't make this. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe now 2025, and people always like, well, China's doing this. China's building bridge. Like they always like you don't know what's going on in China. You see an Instagram about a glass bridge. Like, calm down. You know what I mean? The bridge just collapsed recently over there too. No one was injured. Like we could talk about. You know what I mean? Like so for all the feats they're doing, a bridge just collapsed. Like for someone who hears about China all the time, and no one got hurt, but a bridge collapsed that they just built. So with all the technology, it's still not perfect like this. You know what I mean? It's still not that magnificent church and those archways. Like, come on, man. It's another level stuff. And it's almost like a sloppy lie. Like, hey, say the one in the 1300s, like the one in Cologne, Germany, say it took 600 years. Why? Because that was an earlier time. We have to, and in Europe, I think they found these structures first, like these other ones, and then they came to America and they found these like this whole wild thing over here, and you just build around it. Like that's what I truly think happened. And the ones in Europe, they had to say, hey, this is 1300. So we have to lie and say it took 200 years. You know what I mean? And then as we got closer to the present timeline, like, no, we'll say 1 year because we have more technology now. Like, you see, like if you were thinking about a liar, about being the people lying, and I don't know who they are, but it's someone in charge, JP Morgan and them, someone. So I'm still trying to piece it together. I'm still trying to make it make sense. There's a lot to sort through,
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I hear you. And I want to point this out as well, while we're on this topic about the timelines. So imagine right now, picture 1600, 1700 France. When you mention France, what do you think about? Like the Eiffel Tower. That's generally what people seem to think about, this beautiful giant tower. And that's a whole nother topic as well. But look, this is France a few hundred years ago, 1600s, 1700s. look at the types of houses, the types of structures people are living in. These are like huts made with wood, and they're not really that intricate. Some of them are, a bit more
Pretty
up to
basic.
standard than others. But I mean, take a look. You can see for yourself. I mean, okay, so you've got these types of buildings, but then we go back here. This palace, 1661. This with this guy. Who's this guy out here on the water? Like, who is that?
He's everywhere. He's everywhere. He's in Brooklyn. He's in DC. He's in France. He's everywhere. He's built during a depression, but built the same way, same exact way during a depression by Grand Almond Plaza. Him and a bunch of other people. Like, this is insane, man. Put France on the list.
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
just for the World's Fair, for this and the World's Fair attachment to the Eiffel Tower. You know what I mean? Like, come on, red flag central, the World's Fair.
Yep,
Come on.
exactly. And then you've got the Grand Palace, 1897, 1900. Another one. And look at the structure here inside. It looks almost that it was built by the same architect who built the Eiffel Tower. This is the same type of like metal beams that are being made to create these amazing structures. The same way the Eiffel Tower was built, they say that was at 1897 to 1900. Again, I mean, why would that even be built there? What purpose do you think this was meant to serve? Why would a palace need to look like this?
Like the anytime like the Grand Central, the height, there's no reason for the height. You saw, like, you know what I mean? Like, just, oh, we have scaffolding, so all right, so you can just go as high as you can. Like, there's no need for that. And then the way it's laid out, like, people talk about harvested energy and charging stations, and like, I haven't had time to go down too much of that rabbit hole because I'm doing a lot, running around, editing, and it's a lot to take in. I try to go in with like an open mind on just the building, no backstory in my head or whatever, you know. But that looks very similar to the underneath of the parachute drop in Coney Island. That was, again, red flag because it was part of the World's Fair, which I never thought. I always thought it was in Coney Island since I was a kid, and they used to practice on it for the army or something. Or that's what you were told, like, oh, my grandpa jumped off. You know what I mean? Like, but that underneath looked exactly like that, with a metal thing, like the Eiffel Tower going into the sky. It's like the Eiffel Tower and this had a kid, because that part right there looks like the top of the. If you put that on top of the Eiffel Tower, it looks like the parachute drop in Coney Island. That's whatever they were doing. It would probably benefit us today if we're not doing it anymore. You know. No, I was even making a joke about how people trust in the government. Like, people over here were like, yeah, they're like, oh, we have an invasive species, lanternflies, and like everyone's killing them because the government. And I'm like, hold on, I'm about to catch these things, put it in a blender, and drink them. If the government's telling us to kill the lanternflies, they're probably good for life. It's like the fountain of youth, the lanternflies. That's why else would the government have us kill them? You know what I mean? Like, you can't trust them. They probably. The benefits of the lanternfly probably grow my hair back. I'll start losing weight. I'm joking, obviously, but just like, you go the opposite of what the people in charge are telling us at this point. But this is wild.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. I mean,
See, the similar towers, the similar guys standing like. And sorry to cut you off. I got excited because you see this over and over again. And how do people just accept it? You know what I mean? Like, they weren't just replicating it. It was something they saw. You know what I mean? Like, because there would be so many imperfect ones that they didn't get right. You know what I mean? They didn't just like, hey, I saw this in France, let's just redo it. And every single one of them was a perfect masterpiece. There would be like a 6, or like a guy who was just practicing, and there weren't like half-ass versions of this, and this is just coming to me now as I'm thinking about this. You guys have been talking, like, that's a good point. Like, there's no. These are all masterpieces, 9s, 10s, probably, right? Or close to 10s, perfect. There's no 8s or 7, 8, 6s. There's no half-ass structures like this, right? You just crush every single one of them. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, they're all perfect. I mean, the geometry apparently even referring to things like the Fibonacci spiral and pi, and somehow this is incorporated into many of the buildings in a time where apparently we were just like, what do you call it? Like cavemen, or not cavemen, but uncultured, uncivilized beings. But yet we were able to create these. Okay, yeah, there's definitely something that doesn't add up there. Again, you've got St. Paul's Cathedral, London. I mean, it looks exactly like a building you'd find in Rome, the same style, everything. And wow, yeah, no words really.
When you asked me earlier, what besides the Statue of Liberty, I just had like a moment where I was in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, Our Lady of Angels. I just did it like 2 weeks ago, where I met an architect that was outside, and it was a fun interaction. But this church was where my friend who passed away like 2005, when I was still drinking heavily, and he passed away. And you go to the mass, and I remember because this church looks like it. And I'm sitting there, and you're at mass, your friends pass, you're thinking about a lot of things, you're reflecting. And I looked up, and I'm like, how the hell did they build this church? And like that church, and for me to go be able to do it 2 weeks ago, that was one of my first experiences sitting in church. How when you God's in the sky, like they say, right? You look up and you talk like, help me, like you're human nature to look up. How are you not in one of these structures looking up like, how did they build this? How do you not say that? A simple personal test to yourself, just say it to yourself, like that's what I did. And this church right here reminds me of that building, and that was one of the first moments. And I think back about it, like I was there, my friend passed, and I was like, how'd they build this church? And I did it recently, like coming full circle, like. But this is another level. Like you pick some all-time ones, like, and as make it make sense, we got to put it out in the universe, right? As it gets bigger, and I get to be able to see more of these places, these are on the list. And, maybe meet you there. Make it make sense,
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. And, like this one here and another one in London. Well, this is very early. This has a really early date compared to all the others. It's not 1800, 1900, but 960 AD. And look at the geometry, the carvings on the ceiling, all in stone. And this is a humongous ceiling. It's not as small as the picture looks, but again, everything is carved to a T. There aren't any mistakes. It's almost like a machine did it.
Man, I want to know how. Whoever it was, how? Because this is, and we're not talking. Oh, they built this thing out of plywood, this paper mache. No, this is like cutting stone. Like it's. You ever see when they're like cutting the street open, like they have the big saw, like, all right, they're holding the street up, at least we're watching something cool. This saw cutting through hard concrete, like this, but imagine doing it with precision, not just ripping it up to get the pipes. Like this one's beautiful. I've never seen this one before. Westminster Abbey.
Yeah, and like think about it. Have you ever tried, or anyone watching this tried cutting a stone? Just like find a random stone off the floor, try carving it into a perfect geometrical masterpiece, let alone a giant building made out of marble or limestone or granite, like these ones,
Like people forget, right? They always like to say Italian masonries, and Italian masonries are good. Or like a church I did recently, it was Irish people. I'm Irish and Italian, so I can speak on it. There were signs that said, I remember as a kid, it said Irish need not apply. They were like almost as bad as slaves back in the day. Irish people had no respect. Now you're gonna give them a chisel and go do a church in Brooklyn? You know what I mean? Like Italian people. Well, I'm Italian. They made a movie, Rocky. Is Rocky smart? Do they portray Italian people as smart people? Honestly. Like in society, and I'm Italian, I can say this, right? But when it comes to a building, oh yeah, Italian masonries. Oh, what about Rocky? Like, I mean, you can't have it both ways. Like, and I'm not bashing Italian people saying they don't do great work, but this only so X amount of Italian people to have on site to do these buildings. Is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, what do we got here?
Exactly. This one is Vienna State Opera. So this is an opera house, and this place is absolutely huge. If I didn't include the picture, but from above, it's like a whole giant structure with multiple buildings. It's not just one, it's like several plus, and they're all very, very long. And then the interior is, again, like this perfect geometrical, stone carved stairs, hallways, pillars, with these statues of these beings that all look the same, and all these types of buildings. So we don't know who they were, what they are, what beings these are. And yeah, so apparently Vienna needed this place to perform opera.
Make it make sense. Come on.
Yeah, make it make sense.
It reminds me of the state, like the not spot on, but with the arches and the layout in the front reminds me of the Connecticut State Capitol. Didn't have that big green roof, but just had those columns and the archways, and this thing's beautiful, man. And I love the horses. Like, it's one thing to build it, but like, no, let's hoist these metal horses up on top of these buildings. Like, you know how hard it is? I don't care how many pulleys you have. You know what I mean? Like, there's just no need for this. And like, oh man, it's comical, man. But this thing is beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. And then another one, Saint Stephen's Cathedral, Vienna, 1147 or 1300s to 1400s. I mean, this is apparently a sketch of what it would look like when people were in horse and carriage on the roads. And then you've got this giant thing right here. Like, where did that come from?
Come on, man. Come on. And right. Anytime I think of like an old church like this, like you ever like melt candle wax? Like, it'd be easier if we built this out of melting candle wax than how they say we did it with stone. And like, it looks like cool melted candle wax. It's so intricate, but it's stone. It's like a limestone or whatever it is, marble. It's insane. All right, let's see this.
Yeah, one. Yeah, exactly. It is insane, and this is the Hungarian Parliament. So for some reason, all across the world, these buildings always have the huge, ginormous buildings with the dome, like the one in Washington that you saw. They always have to be the parliament buildings or some type of government center. So we've got this one here in Hungary, Hungarian Parliament in Budapest, 1885 to 1904. So they say this was built in only 19 years, less than 20 years for this. And now I have to say, me and my husband, when we moved here, we were building this property that we're in, and it was like 10% of the structure compared to what we added onto it. So we built basically 95%. There was a team of like 10 to 15 guys working just to build a place made of blocks and to do the plumbing and digging out all the foundations. There's like a less than 2,000 square meter home, not a huge place, not a mansion, but you know, it has like a few rooms. That took like a year, right? On and off, because there was a rain season as well. But just keep that in mind. They say this giant thing was built in less than 20. And in a time where, again, as you know, Tom, people who are using horse, carriage with no power tools. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense is right. And the people like in New York, they don't factor in the winter. You know what I mean? Like concrete needs time to cure. Like with the Statue of Liberty, things like that. Structures like this, like that's the stone, it's different. But like there's the rain season where you are. You know what I mean? Like it's not just 365 full steam ahead. There's factors, you know, like, and with the Woolworth building, since we touched on it, like the little backstory, 500 trucks a day of steel from Pennsylvania. And there was a guy that was checking up to make sure the trucks were okay. It's 1912. There's no GPS or was it transistor radio? Like, how would you? Hey, where are you in the Poconos? Like, where? Come to New York. We need that steel. Like, there was no checking in. There was the backstories and the lies, and Hungarian parliament. Come on, man. Look at this thing. And the domes. What were they doing
Yeah,
with the spires at the top? Why always
right.
the spires? You know what I mean? Like, what? Can someone explain that to us, please? Like, what do
Yeah,
you think? You know what I mean? Like, what's
yeah.
your thought? If you're saying they built this why would they do that on top? You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking to the rhetorically to the imaginary naysayer.
Yeah, comment down below, everyone watching this. What do you think about these structures? How do you think that these were built? Then you've got
Yeah.
Spain. In Spain,
Oh, there we
this
go.
is the Royal Palace of Madrid. And I had to zoom in to the interior and get a shot of these lions.
I love the lions. I became obsessed with lions because when you do this, you see them every day. They're everywhere. Like, come on. Like, I know it means strength and this, and a castle means fortitude, but it's like, like they're everywhere. It's from an era when there was lions every like something is off. You know, when you see a lion, you know what I mean? Like, usually means they're lying.
Right. I mean, again, with the domes, the spires on the top
And
in the
where is this?
center. This is in Madrid, and they say this was built in the mid 1700s.
40,
Yeah,
55, 17 years.
17 years. Wow, even less than the Hungarian parliament. That's impressive. 100 years earlier as well. Well, nearly 100 years earlier, but with even less time. Wow. Okay.
I wish I could do. I wish I could do like some sort of like report of, is it by water, is it the elevation? Because a lot of times I see a lot of these things higher up. You know what I mean? Like on a hill or close to water. Like, I don't know what that factors into anything. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm just trying to collect as much data as possible to see, things that line up. Like, oh, a lot of them by water, a lot of them on a hill. All right, what's going on with this? Like, all right, how come this one? All right, this one's definitely not on a hill over here. Just I want to see the numbers. I'm a numbers guy. I want to know. I want to see what similarities they have.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's good to just to consider, the statistics and the data, and like, for example, like where did they have to go? How many miles were being traveled to actually accumulate the materials, all the stone, the limestone, and then bringing it back and then unloading it, and then how many people to actually like carry the stone and put it in place? How did they even lift these stones with, and how did they even build to these heights with no scaffolding? And how did they carve with no power tools and do all of this in such a, which I would say is a short time period, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And we know how long even just a house can take to build, like a year, 2 years with some breaks, so these, they do not make sense. And then you've got this one, Seville Cathedral, 1401 to 1528. And I mean, yeah, again, the geometry on the exterior and the interior in the middle here is just, wow, it's insane.
Yeah, this is, come on, man, the 1400s. This is what you would tell, like you have I think you said you had a kid, right? Like, this is what you tell a little kid. You know what I mean? Like, hey, oh, this is a castle. Open up, it's an airplane. We're gonna feed you string bean. Like, you make lies of, oh, your tooth fell out, don't cry. We put it under the pillow. A fairy comes. Oh, they come from a castle like this. Like, it's a lie you tell a kid. The 1400s. And I love what you said about with the stone. Like, that's one of my favorite things. The source of the stone. Because you can't replace it or hide it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is limestone from Romania? Why are we in Vienna or wherever? You know what I mean? I'm just naming random countries. You know what I mean? Just like, or like the Minnesota State Capitol. The limestone was too cloudy. Oh, we shipped it. We brought it in from Georgia. It's an 18-hour drive. Oh, we had boats. Like, all right. Sorry. I didn't mean you have boats. And this is next level. This one right here, man.
I agree. Berlin Cathedral, 1894 to 1905. Again, with the domes, these huge domes, and wow, this is the This is the geometry from the interior on, I think, the central dome, on the main dome. You can see that it almost looks like a mandala or a flower, or I don't know what.
Look, it looks like an eye. Like it's just
An eye.
like
Yeah.
sunflower. Like it's just, and you see the sunflowers a lot all over these buildings with the lion. Like there was one, the Howl, right by the Federal Reserve. And I just made a mockery of it, like Gilligan Island references of like how you can just make up a lie about something. And they had sunflower lion throughout the whole, like an excessive amount. Like you need 200 sunflowers, 200 lions to adorn this building in 1912. Like,
Right.
come on, man.
Yeah, like what is that all about? And why do all these buildings in all these different countries across the world have the same themes, the same patterns?
And this one, I brought this up before. And one last thing, origin story of how I got here. I was in a bad relationship right when I first started comedy, like right after I got sober. Not my choice of a bad girl, and putting me through hell. And my trip was horrible. Like it was a guy's trip, like go to meet at the last country for a bachelor party. We went Sweden, Berlin, this. Long story short, my trip to Europe, which wasn't how it should have been, I went back to my old pictures. There was pictures of churches and this. So my subconscious, even in a bad time with a girl like destroying my apartment at home in America, ruining my trip, I was still mesmerized by these old churches and buildings. I took pictures and I posted it, and it was a moment for me because I haven't looked at those pictures because it's since I took them, and they were old structures. So that's part of that church I was in, the Statue of Liberty, and you just had Berlin. And now that's where I was taking pictures of these old structures. And it was in me, I guess, for a while now, you know? Right. Sorry to give you a more origin story of how I got here.
Of course. No, we appreciate it. It's good to know. And, think about this, like how to make this make sense. So, okay, they didn't have these metal scaffolds that we have now, maybe, but they had wooden scaffolds. Okay, you can cut down a tree. You don't need a power tool to do that. To cut some wood and make some scaffolds, fine. But then how can anyone answer this? How can anyone explain this? So you make these wooden scaffolds between 1200 and 1800, Germany, Cologne, and I think this is Germany if I'm not mistaken. And then you're lifting, look how tall this stone is, and look how tiny these people, they look like tiny little ants on the floor in comparison to this humongous structure. How is the wood going to withstand the tons of, I don't know if this is limestone or what it is. How is it going to withstand the amount of stone that's being upholstered and structured? Like, there are no words to even describe it. How?
When you were talking about it before, when I think the Vienna one, when you mentioned scaffolding, and like in my head, I'm like, even if they had the wooden scaffolding, when you're pulling up, like when you're pulling that weight up, you're putting the pressure on the scaffolding. Oh no, they were the best scaffolding builders in the world. Like easy comment section guy. Like they that's what people would say. They had the best scaffold builders in the world. Like instead of being like, hey, that doesn't make sense. They want to but those, like you said, the stone would destroy the scaffold. There's no way you need a crane. You know what I mean? Like. And this one took 600 years. Come on.
Yeah, too many lives. Too many lives. Winter Palace, St. Petersburg, 1730, 1837. So they say this took 107 years. And this is the actual size of the structure here. It's highlighted on this picture on the right with all the green roof. And they've got a few of them, actually, it seems. And again, we're just looking at the same themes with the same people. These statues, it has statues all over the roof of some type of beings carved out of stone perfectly, almost as if they were real people who just turned to stone, because that's how perfect the carvings are of all these beings. It's coincidentally, it's just so perfect. Whoever made them was obviously a master, but Yeah, again, we're looking at the same types of themes. And then you've got, well, going on to New York, which
Oh,
is your hometown, Grand Central Terminal, New York, 1903 to 1913.
the St. Petersburg one is funny because it's Winter Palace. How cold does it get in Siberia? I mean, that's Russia. That you can do this in the winter. You know what I mean? Like they're known for their cold winters. Come on, man. But that's all I want to say. It's funny that they call it the Winter Palace. Like you're not working in the winter. I can't see it in the 1700s. Like people would freeze. Built it like. Uh, but the Grand Central Station one is wild, man. They painted the if you on the one where it shows the ceiling on the right. They have the constellation, but they drew it backwards. Huh? You know what I mean? Like if I had this sign made up for something I was doing, and I had to trace the back because the reverse of the camera it read backwards. But if I held it through the marker, if I filled in the lines, reading it backwards would play. How do you draw a constellation upside down on a ceiling on a scaffolding backwards? Know how impressive that is? Like I don't know, man. It just grants the outside part. You see the limestone?
Yeah.
They had people. Let's say there was trains, right? Which we'll get to another time. The train system in America. Let's say there was. They had these quarries send in pieces of limestone from all over the country. Hey, we're taking submissions. Then they took it from here and sent it to Van Cortlandt Park in the Bronx to do years of weather studies to see which one would withstand the New York winter. And they're still in Van Cortlandt Park today. Blocks of stone, like they said, like this story of. Imagine like we're gonna build this Grand Central Station. No, we need 3 years. Why? To let the blocks sit outside to see which one we're gonna choose. What kind of plan is that? Right? Do you hear what I'm saying? Like they let the stones stay outside before they picked which one they were gonna use. Years of a study. A guy just sitting there taking notes, like in the winter. Like it's comical. It's comical. The Tiffany clock is beautiful out front. It's the largest Tiffany clock in the world, I believe.
Oh, wow. I see that. And you can also see some type of being. And I don't know if those are wings.
Yeah, it's a wild scene. Wild scene.
Okay, I see. And then obviously, like you said, sorry, go ahead.
No, and like in the weirdest thing, when I was inside filming the inside, you see those outside windows in the video of my Grand Central. When you go and check it out, it shows a guy walking across like what seems to be the middle, and people are like, "Yo, there's a guy walking" in the comments, and I saw it, and it's this window here, but there's no like he would have to be walking in the air. I'm telling you, check out my Grand Central on my TikTok, and the window's on the right. He's walking like if it's ground level in the air. It's the wildest thing. Check my my TikTok when afterwards you're gonna see what I'm talking about. And anyone, if you're watching, check it out. The Grand Central one specifically, and it's something like we almost like I captured something that shouldn't have been happening. You know what I mean? Like a glitch in life. It's the weirdest thing. People caught it in the comment section. That's why I love the comment section.
I will check that out for sure.
And also, they have a thing with a certain room by the Oyster Room. If you're ever in New York, if you go on one side, you talk, you whisper, and the other corner can hear it. Whisper. It's called the Whisper Room. It's the world famous Whisper Room. Weird acoustics with a weird building, just weird stuff, you know? Yeah. And how beautiful the Grand Central Station is. I just took the train from across Penn Station. The old Penn Station, which is Madison Square Garden, where the New York Knicks play today, was bigger than this, grander than this, and they knocked it down because it was covered in grime, they said. The old Penn Station is a rabbit hole. I highly recommend going down if you like New York City and if you like Grand Central Station. It was probably the original Grand Central Station, and they knocked it down to build the Madison Square Garden. It was bigger than this. It was wild.
Well, that does sound wild indeed. Another question is which I'm sure we can discuss maybe another time, like you said, but the subways in and of themselves, and how did they achieve that feat at the same time as all of these buildings that were being constructed back then? It's a whole nother topic. But anyway, That's something to
stories
talk
down
about.
into the ground, you know? And don't even get me started about the ones going west. We're just going to go west and just nail stuff into the ground that these big trains can go on. And arch nemesis is a guy on a horse. Like, come on, man. Come on. Cops and robbers, like cowboys and like with the trains. Like, come on. It's different timelines. Come on, man. Make it make sense.
Yeah, make it make sense, indeed. New York Public Library, 1897 to 1911. If I'm not mistaken, I've been here, but this is all made of marble, right? This whole structure.
Not here yet. This is on the list. You're gonna see this. You're gonna see this by the time the podcast come out, because now you got one for me that I'm gonna hit this week. I'm gonna try to hit this before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, go here, because I honestly, the people are tiny in comparison to these huge arches and these huge pillars. Everything is carved again perfectly out of marble. The statues, the people, the beings, the pillars, every single thing about it is perfectly symmetrical. The interior with these domes, all of these different things. You've got these flowers again, whatever
flowers
that means.
Are everywhere. They're in a lot of the arches. I don't know what they mean.
Yeah, these flowers yet again. And this perfectly marble carved structure from 1897.
You see the lion on the banner? The lion on the banner?
Yeah, I mean, again, make it make sense. How?
I'm gonna this one. I'm definitely gonna dig. The other ones were tickling me. Like I put them in the back of my head. I'm like, as everything grows, we'll put Vienna and these other ones on the list. But this is right. This is my trip to Manhattan this week. I got to get on this one, and I will make it. I will try to make it make sense. I don't know if we could. Just from looking at that staircase, those arches alone, people are gonna lose it. People are going to lose it over this one. Thank you for this one.
You're welcome, of course. Yeah, this one is very, very amazing.
And the statues upstairs just... Oh, this one, this is right by, this is on Wall Street.
It's on Wall Street.
Washington. Yeah. Hey. This is, they're doing something to this building. It's all boarded up.
Oh.
They're doing construction to it right now. But if you look, if you're right by the statue, the New York Stock Exchange is right behind it. So like that's a popular spot right there. It's a cool spot. If you ever come to New York, definitely hit this one up. But this one doesn't make sense.
No, 1842 again. So even earlier than the public library.
Trinity Church is right there. So many things are right there. Like wild. If I ever started a tour, it would start right there and just walk to City Hall. That's how many great buildings are over there.
Wow. The Met Museum founded. Okay, because a lot of these buildings, Tom, as you know, they say they were founded. But what does that really mean? Were they founded, or did they find it? Right? That's the question. Yeah. 1870? Founded in 1870. Okay, so Federal Hall 1842, the Met Museum founded 1870. Why did we need to have a museum that looks like this? That looks like another building out of Rome.
The outside's wild. This is right behind. On the street level is this building. Right behind it is where the Basilica is, Cleopatra's Needle. And as I was exiting the park, I stumbled across the Met, and outside the statues, the faces, just that whole Central Park area, there's so many wild buildings, and they got the field. So like, besides being on a hill, and it's a castle in Central Park, the Needle, like too many things are adding up. The old buildings, like with the gargoyles, the Dakota where John Lennon passed, where he used to live, Central Park, and then there was something about the Met that stuck out to me. I'm trying to remember. I just did this last month. You know what it is? You see, you Google so many numbers and see so many statues, you know? But I'm going to, as we get closer to the winter, I'm going to do a Make It Make Sense on the inside. I did the Brooklyn Museum on the inside. Like, because I'm usually riding around on my bike. Now I got to play the weather. I'm going to be honest with you, not like the historians who didn't factor the weather as they built these buildings. As I go to document these buildings, I have to factor the weather in because I'm a realistic, honest person. You know, weather is an issue when you're filming, let alone doing construction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's a really valid point that I don't think people take into consideration, nor do the history books, it seems, when it comes to the dates that they put on these structures. The Plaza Hotel.
Oh yeah.
Now, this is the one. Was that the Woolworth? Are they different, or I don't know?
Yeah, they're different. This is, again, speaking of Central Park, right outside Central Park, you have General Sherman on a horse where the eyes are bugged out. Again, horse is going like the horses saw something, or like you castrate them, like beyond scared. And this guy, General Sherman, whoever this guy is, outside Central Park, across from the plaza, which looks like a castle. You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you, Central Park was, besides being Seneca Village, which I'll get to, which was an all-black community that they ripped up to make Central Park. There's history and bad history also. I'll get to that. But there's something was going on with that open. They said they made it. I think it was there, right? Like that structure. Like, you don't build all these buildings around this park, right? This area that you needed for some reason. Again, energy, some sort of airship. I don't know what it was. Like, I can't make it make sense why all these buildings and like, but you try to piece it together because you see everything. Like, when you're putting a puzzle together, you can't put it together right away, but you see the pieces, and eventually they start coming together. And Central Park is piecing together.
2 years for this one. 2. That's it. Just 2.
Grandpa Bill swinging hammers. Come on. They work harder than us. Come on. They love that. We work harder. They worked harder back then.
That's it. Amazing. And then you've got this, the courthouse. New York, looks straight out of Rome, 1896. 3 years. Oh, wait, 1 year more than this. 3 years for this. Okay.
That Roman soldier sitting there guarding the front.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see that. Right there.
Yeah. Fortitude. Because it was a court. You want to make sure everyone knew that you don't mess around in court. Like, this is the nonsense we got to deal with. You know what I mean? Like, these silly, like, oh, this is what it means. No. You can't just order Roman soldiers and weird character statues from Amazon in the 1800s and just place them everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, my friend has a cool yard with zoo animals for his kids. Like, so many. But that's similar, but that's Amazon 2025. People are like, yeah, they did the Burj Khalifa. I'm like, bro, we got FaceTime. We're not saying that this is 100 years ago. Like, what kind of example is that? You know, like, come on, man. Can't order Roman statues from Amazon.
No. Woolworth building. This is the one. This is the video that you made, which is just blown up over 1 million views. And you were showing the faces in particular, because I think that the faces really stand out because they're looking at you. When you look at the building, they're looking right back at you. You've got the face of the ladies here who almost look like they're of African descent. Then you've got the natives as well on there, Native Americans. And you're asking people in the video on TikTok, you know, who are these people and why are they there? And they say this was built in 3 years, just 3 years for this huge structure.
The record-breaking time, you know, again, groundbreaking technology, record-breaking time, always breaking records. And this one, I went for gargoyles. And then I see all these faces. I'm like, oh, that looks like Biggie. That looks like the Statue of Liberty. In hindsight, I didn't know what I was filming at the time because I'm looking for gargoyles. And I see this. So I'm like, that guy did look like Biggie. You know what I mean? Like, look like a black guy. And I'm from Brooklyn. I have a painting of Biggie in my kitchen. You know what I mean? Like a huge Biggie. But you see the art behind me. I got a huge I love Biggie. And then from the comments, because people were like, oh, that it was this. Like some people, other people laughed. Most people laughed at it, knowing I innocently didn't know what I was filming. You know? And this one took off because it almost says that the natives and black people were here already, which I was saying to my other buddy on the podcast before I even started this. You know what I mean? Like, just like another thing, a rabbit hole I was thinking about, like, just logistically, a lot of it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but just this like really validifies that a little. And then I didn't release a fourth video of the Congress Library of Congress today because it showed a lot of faces and I didn't want to overdo it. I want to show the inside. But when I went to the back, it was this all over again. And I'm like, you know what? I'll drop this after I do the inside so it doesn't get mixed in with my silly, who's this guy? Like, I want to show this. And it's the back of the building. It's this again. I'm like, is this guy Italian? That guy doesn't look Irish. Like, make it make sense. Who are these people? And why are they on the Congress Library? They look exactly like the people on the Woolworth building. I bring it up. And it tells a story. And when they said, oh, they did it to honor Woolworth and the architects and this, I'm like, I don't know the workers. I'm like, these don't look like workers in the 1900s. You know what I mean? Like, they look like clearly who they look like. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. It's called the eye test. And that's the Cathedral of Commerce. He got Vermont, Italy, Greece. You're not allowed in there. No tourists are allowed in there. It's like residential now. But from looking inside, it looked absolutely stunning. You know?
Yeah,
500 trucks of steel a day from Pennsylvania, 1912. What trucks? Wow. What trucks are we using? 1912. 500 trucks of hot steel ready to go. Like, come on, man.
Wow. Yeah. No words. No words.
It makes sense. And it was called a 5 and 10 store.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I know 99-cent stores, dollar slices make money, but he sold stuff that were nickels and dimes. It's not like he was like I don't know, like a stockbroker or something. Like, he was a nickel and dime store. He's built Cathedral of Commerce. Come on.
Yeah, I hear you. I want to show you this temple because I don't know if you've looked into these temples because right now you're focused on the buildings in the US, but the temples are a whole nother story.
I touched on them.
Yeah, take a look at this structure right here. This is a structure in southern India, which I actually visited when I was very young, a few years ago. And this is also, I think it's aligned to some type of constellation in the sky, similar to how the pyramids in Egypt are. I know, right? Like, when people think of India, you know, you can imagine how people live even today, let alone hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And then you've got these types of buildings, and let me just show you the Indian
structures. The Indian structures are hot in the sense of what I get sent. So they're the hand carved. It was chiseled out of a mountain. It looks like, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't move the stone here. They hand carved them. That's what I get from a lot of Indian temples for some reason. Like, that gets sent to me is these insane, intricate, not statues, not domes, intricate, just chiseling, or lasering, or somehow insanely making these like this.
These, what you're saying is true. I saw these, and I remember seeing how many people were at this temple site, and they just go there to worship and bow down to these buildings. And people are not questioning anything. They're just worshiping there. They only go there for worship. And when you zoom into some of the faces, because these buildings are covered with thousands, tens of thousands of beings and Hindu gods, they say. But then you've also got these guys right here. These dragons, these serpents, all over the place.
What year was this?
I can't remember what year this is in. Let me see.
Sorry, I thought, I didn't say the year. But like even like, it reminds me of, like, it's not so vibrant, but like I brought up the clock in Prague with the apostles that come out, like the colors and just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, just very colorful when you know, like color wasn't that big of an option. You know what I mean? Like it was basic.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't make sense because look how people were living in that same time in India. People were literally living in huts. This is Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is the same part of India where I just showed you those giant, humongous, intricate temples. This is the same area. This would have been a few hundreds of years ago. This is how people were living back then. You know this, but you had all these temples. Everything was still there at that time. So no, that really doesn't add up. And apparently, this structure right here, they say was built in the 9th century. So over 1,000, basically close to 1,000 or over 1,000 years ago. How
Oh
are
man,
they, right?
come on, man. I like how you keep bringing up the like how it was at that time. That's another cross reference. Like it's hard for me when I'm on my bike and in the city. If I just need enough meat on the bone of a red flag for me to do the building. You know what I mean? Like the time error this, and then I'll usually do a follow up or come back because I'm on my. It's tough. You're in New York City. I'm in the middle of the street, but like as I just lost my train of thought. Crap. Sorry.
That's okay. But you know, the thing that really stands out, which I wanted to show you about these temples, is the dragons are always at the top. And now, when I say these are tall buildings, Tom, I mean like these are super tall buildings. Really, really tall. Again, people look like ants in comparison to the height, but then you've got these giant dragon heads sticking out at each corner of the top. And I'm not sure why they're choosing the dragons and the reptiles again, just like the cathedrals all across the world. But this isn't Europe, this isn't England, this is India. And we still have the same serpents sort of representing these buildings.
Yeah, no, it's unexplainable. Like, and a simple question like, "Hey, make it make sense." I would love to hear someone try to do that. I'm like, all right, let me fill my cup of water up so I can laugh as you let me giggle as you're telling me how they did this or why they would do this with the dragging on top of the. What does dragons have to do with India in the 900s? Come on, man.
Yeah, that's a really valid question. And even across the whole world, like what did they have to do with anywhere? I mean, from what I know, the term dinosaur, this is another topic altogether, but the term dinosaur was not invented until the 1800s. So prior to that, apparently in ancient history, all across the world, especially in China, you have the presence of dragons being documented.
I just did a wild build in the Petrosia like last week. I missed my ferry like trying to catch it, and it was dragons everywhere. I'm just like I was against the clock. I'm biking to the ferry after. I'm gonna do a follow up. If people went off because again, dragons, the intricacy, like the Indian temple, but just dragons are intricate. You know what I mean? On the side of these buildings and babies and baby heads. You know the amount of baby stuff I saw in DC. Like they're not angels all the time, and even if they are, why are there baby angels or kid angels everywhere? And I went into one museum that is just, it was like I had to document just to show how many. Why is there so many kids? Does DC stand for the children? Like, come on, man. Just so many weird things that don't make sense on top of the buildings. Just the little intricate things. This, like, oh, that's Genghis Khan. I was like, all right. Why is he on the state Congress library building? You know what I mean? Like, hey, he killed the most people. Like,
yep, and also the Griffins as well. Like these are beings that you see all the time because they're everywhere. They're on all of these old buildings. What do you think they mean?
they were all over Philly. And then when I went to DC was rich and Griffin. Like, I see them in New York, and they're everywhere, but like they were everywhere. It's like this is excessive. You know what I mean? Like it's people say it's Tartarian, like that was from the flag. I think they're cool for now. I don't try to go on either side. I don't try to sell myself on anything yet. I'm still learning and digging. I don't want to. I can't be pulled in different directions. I'm trying to stay focused on just, like I'm trying to keep everything with integrity and just, like be honest about my approach to things, and truly learn and figure it all out. Just gather information. Don't be like 60-70% and or lean anywhere. And in the comments, they try to paint you in the corner. Hey, what are you, a flat earth? This? What are you? Weather denier or something?
Yeah, like you're open-minded. You're literally just trying to make it make sense. You're trying to understand things from an open perspective. We're not saying it's this or it's that, but that's how people can perceive it. And I actually heard in a chapter of the book, you can find the audio book on YouTube. It's pretty long, but from one segment, someone actually took out of it. And it's a book called I think it's called The Travels of Sir John Mandeville. And it's by this man called Sir Jean. I think it's Jean in French, but John in English, Sir Jean Mandeville. And he's basically describing his history traveling the world. And this book was published by him in 1357 or 1356, which is hundreds of years ago. And in this one segment of his book, from his travels, his own experience, he mentioned something really interesting, that there was this really great nation, one of the greatest nations in the world, apparently, that spread all across Asia, going into sort of the lower regions, almost branching into Africa, and also across Europe, called the nation of Tartary. And then another part that he talks about are these beings or these mammals, rather, like a type of animal that they had, which sort of represented a type of phoenix that had wings, really big wings that were extremely strong. They would use the feathers to make arrows for shooting the people, the locals. And this phoenix type of being, it was like a mixture between a bird and a beast. And it was a very, very powerful, like an animal of war almost. And, the way he describes it is exactly on par with the griffin.
It's so funny. Like, I was reaching for a towel before, and when I shower, I have my towels I like to pick. It's just me and my girl here. And I grabbed one, and I don't know where we got it from. Maybe someone left it. There was a griffin today. I swear to God, it's right here.
Wow.
I can grab. I was like, how? This is the universe. This is why I love life, because as many griffins as I see in my own house, I grabbed a towel that I never noticed had a griffin on it. You know what I mean? Like, and I try to use the same two towels. Like, I do a lot of wash. You know what I mean? Like, I like my comfortable stuff. But I grabbed one today, and I was like, a griffin on the towel. They're everywhere, man. They were a part of something. Everything you just said, that makes more sense than anything that you hear online or from other people that are educated,
Right. I want to ask these questions also for our viewers, for the audience, for all the awesome people who are watching this. You can comment down below as well. What are your thoughts on this? But why question the official timelines? I mean, we've covered this already. It's because what we're seeing, it doesn't add up with what we're being told. Why explore these hidden technologies? It seems that a lot of these buildings, they were crafted using materials such as the limestone, the granite, quartz, and gold, some of them, and the metals, copper, bronze, that have like they can be used as electricity or conductors for electricity in some way, which is very interesting. Concept I've heard about, and perhaps some of these structures were being used as that, and maybe we've just lost that knowledge. Maybe it's possible, right? Anything's possible, but I hear, and you've probably heard too, Tom, of course, about this concept of the Great Reset that happened between 16 to 1800, where suddenly, the countries like across Europe and England and France and Spain, they were just being flooded with plague, disease, people were being wiped out, and then you had like 30 years of war, and basically the population was just being diminished to nothingness. And then you have these pictures, which I've seen, and videos, footage taken in the late 1800s to early 1900s in some countries, which people can find on their own, where there are countries that look absolutely bare and empty and almost as if they had just been recovering from some type of flood, where the streets are really muddy and there's no one really there. But then you have these giant grand structures, which are exactly the same types we've been going over. Some people theorize that there could have been some form of catastrophe, disaster that may have potentially wiped out a previous race or a civilization that were intentionally creating these structures for some deeper purpose. And the new humans, us, we came around, we founded these buildings all across the Americas and the rest of the world and just took them on as our own, without actually utilizing them as the original architects intended, but rather turning them into buildings that represent power, control, government, obviously excluding the building in Washington for the postal service that looks like it's from Rome, which doesn't make sense, but the rest of them were turned into governmental buildings, places of power and control. So this is very interesting. And I know so many people who follow you, and also I think from my audience too, they do understand these things, but there are many, many people who still have a lot to wake up to. And we're not saying anything is for certain, but this does sound quite on par with when you do sort of a fact check or a survey on your own means, in your own mind, just comparing things, adding one and one together and making sense of things. It could be said that, who knows, maybe there was a previous race that was way more advanced than we were, and that would make sense as to how these things could have been built. But the lies that history tell us, which you're exposing in your videos or just simply showing to people, Tom, in plain sight, about the dates, that's not reasonable. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit right with us, with you, and with so many thousands, hundreds of thousands of people now who are finding your content, and it doesn't make sense.
Well, you definitely just said, you crushed it right there. You know what I mean? Like, this is our first time talking. I just want to, you just really just knocked that part out of the park, man. Like, that was very, like, you got me, I'm all over the place. That was so well said, man. Like, and as someone who's a fan of the stuff that I do personally, just to sit here and listen to you talk about it, it's true. Like, and the mud flood, like, we talked about the train. Yeah. Like, there's always, like, pickaxes. What do you need pickaxes for a train, right? Like, you're uncovering something, man. And something happened. Like you said, something happened. What? Mm-hmm. And why do we question it? Well, hey, we're grown-ups. Why do we get, we're paying taxes over here. I don't know if over there, like, shoot me straight. You know what I mean? Like, what happened? Like, come on, man.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, we're tax-paying citizens. We're law-abiding people. Why should we not question what's happening around us when 1 and 1 does not make 5? It just doesn't add up. So, the other question, I'll let you answer this one. How do you feel that the ancient wisdom connects to awakening? Like, how do you feel that understanding, just simply understanding on a surface level, like the buildings that we see around us, can help us awaken?
Well, it shows that there's other stuff besides us. You know what I mean? Like, if we didn't do it, or people that resemble us, because they were there, they found it, but they didn't do it. Like, this is a whole other thing. You know what I mean? Like, and people talk about moving all these stones and stuff, and like the vibrations and energy. I'm a big energy person. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know, just there's a lot going on, and being awake from these buildings, like, there's stuff to it. You know what I mean? It's more than just make it make sense. There's what else was going on back then? Like the energy. It wasn't vibrations. How did they move it? You know what I mean? It's there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
And what can we learn from how they were living back then. If they're an advanced civilization, don't you want to see what they were doing? Like, hey, any cliff notes or pointers of what we can do over here? You know, like what can we learn from these masters? You know what I mean? Like they were clearly masters of seemed life at the time. You know, until what happened. Also, how these masters of these huge structures, insane, beautiful structures, what happened? The mud, where are they? You know what I mean? What happened? Like what led us to us and people accepting, hey, if we are a byproduct of a different civilization, is that a bad thing? We're doing pretty good. You know what I mean? Like the world, depending on how you look at it, but like when the good parts of it, we're doing pretty good. You know what I mean? Like we're not like pieces of crap. You know what I mean? Like we have good stuff, but without them, you know, there's good basketball players. Then there's LeBron James. You know this.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we're doing the best we can, but when we look back at all these structures we've just been reviewing and which you document on your TikTok account, it's very clear to see that someone at some point had a capacity to create these structures that today and hundreds of years thereafter we still do not have. And it's just quite simple. And even if history or his story still wants to tell us and seemingly lie to our faces that we created these structures just 100 years ago or 200 years ago or whatever it may be, even though they look like they're hundreds and thousands of years old, like the ones in Rome, for example, in the Americas, even in England, all across Europe, Spain, China, Australia, you name it, Africa. Even if history wants to tell us that we built them, then why have we not been able to replicate them ever since? Because that's what it all comes down to. Oh, I know so many people talk about this in your comment section. When I've watched one of your videos and I check it out, I'm like, everyone's saying the same stuff. Oh, we didn't work as well back then. Oh, that's because we had slaves. It's this and that. But no, we still have people building these gigantic structures, like you said, in China, and all of these record-breaking skyscrapers all across the world. So why can't we replicate these giant symmetrical stone structures? Why? Is it because we don't want to? Do we just not want to do it? We can't be bothered? What is it? You know?
Listen, we have billionaires so bored. They're like, yeah, send me to space. You don't think there would be a billionaire like, yo, just build me a castle like that? No modern stuff. I want it cut. I want these huge blocks like that picture, like in Vienna or wherever. There would be a billionaire that doesn't mind blowing money to make beautiful just one. No, I'd rather go to space. Why? Because they can't do it, you know?
Exactly.
Someone would if they could, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, I would say that's spot on. Because if money can buy you anything except for love, except for happiness, except for joy, anything physical in this 3D realm, then how come people are not replicating all of these amazing structures all across the world ever since? It's always been throughout the 1800s or 1900 or this 100, that 100, but never 2020, never 2000, whatever. It's never now. It's always been from a previous time. So I think that really says enough. Yeah.
And
you know, yeah, go ahead.
No, but just again,
turn the light on.
But just like with it goes back to hammer, chisel, horse, buggy. Oh no, we had oxen also. Like, all right, sorry, I didn't mean to disrespect the oxen community. They had oxen and horse. You know what I mean? Like, oh, donkeys too. Like, of course, they had animals. Stop, we get it. But they didn't have trucks. Like, come on, man. I know they had boats and trains. Like, but you still have to get it there. The streets, if it's raining, you don't think these muddy pothole streets, like, how are you moving all this steel and limestone? Like, there's so many factors that and the lies were almost perfect. I'll give them credit. The lies were we believed them for how long? You know, it's not like we're 5 years old, like, nah, this doesn't make sense. We went along with it for how long? You know, X amount of years. Everyone's different, you know? And, like, it was almost perfect. But then I don't think they're a factor in the internet, ADHD. But I just want to think like I can't be lied to, so I'm going to keep digging till I find out how you're lying to me. And like it's for someone like me who has ADHD. Once you're lying to me, if I think this building's lying to me, I'm going to keep digging till I find what's lying to me, and I find these little facts that stick out to me, you know. And I repeat them on the videos, and people like just don't acknowledge them for some reason. Like they got marble from Africa. That's not a red flag to you. It was 1800s.
Yeah. Amazing. Very amazing what they tell us, and people just blindly accept it. They don't even want to trust their own vision, let alone their own minds, but instead just simply accept everything else that they're fed from a government, from a school, and apparently that they are more qualified to tell them what's right and wrong than having our own mind, our own sense of belief, our own sense of understanding or sovereignty as individuals. No, that doesn't matter anymore. Just trust someone else above your own instincts.
And listen, I'm not a hypocrite. I Google, I chat, GPT. If we can't get basic facts, we're screwed. You know, even more screwed than we are. But like people will put like I'm sorry, my brain is all over the place. I had a busy morning editing. This is the second time I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. What the heck?
It's okay, no problem. But you're true. Sorry, everything you're saying is true. You know, if we cannot just research things and actually make sense of them with based upon what we're seeing in plain sight, then yeah, someone is obviously lying. You know, there's something that doesn't make sense. The other question is why knowledge was erased. You know, if there was, let's say, this great civilization that came before us that created all these structures, let's say, why would history books not want to teach us about them? And why instead would the current powers that be, the current governments, the authority figures, why would they want to take their place and say that they did it? Why not just simply enlighten people on the truth? I mean, what harm is there in that?
Yeah, and I remember what I had to say. Sorry, but like when I Google something, you get the facts, right? People will just copy and paste Chat GPT or the Google in the comments, and I'm like, hey, but do you have a thought? Like, what's your thought? You know what I mean? When you saw it, or they send me a picture where it looks like a doodle, or like it's not real. I'm like, would you put money on it? Like this, do you feel comfortable in sending this? Like, are you 100%? Like, do you have a thought of your own? Oh, this Google search said this is a picture. Like, well, look at the picture. Does it look like something that you would put money on? Like, this looks real. Like, I don't know, man. Do you have your own thought? Like, I know we just both read the same thing. I know who John Roebling is. I know he built the bridge in Cincinnati. And the guy who built the Brooklyn Bridge. I'm like, did you know? They go, do you know about his first bridge? I'm like, yeah, connected a free state and a non-free state. So you had slave state, that's an issue, but slaves can run over the bridge, you idiot. Do you know about that? Like, I don't know, there's little things that people just regurgitate. Yeah, I'm regurgitating stuff too, but I also have a thought. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
put it together.
Yeah, exactly. People are not actually utilizing this gift that God gave us at birth. It is called our own mind, you know, our own ability to think, our own ability to feel, and to use our two eyes right here. Apparently, they're not good enough. Apparently, we just need to blindly accept everything else that we're told. That's what it seems to be.
Yeah, listen, it goes back to me saying, thank God I never opened the book. Imagine someone telling you, thank God I never opened the because I learned from not going to school, like how to not get caught by the cops to bring you to school. You know what I mean? Little things like that instead of learn whatever they were teaching. You know what I mean? And I always say I ended up well where I'm at today. Like, you know what I mean? Like I feel so fresh that I wasn't brainwashed with this nonsense. You know, like
right.
It's almost like a blessing that I was a mess up in school, you know? A godsend.
Yeah, I hear you. I do. And I just want to share this as well. Another picture which I found to be really, really interesting. Let me just share my screen again here. share this. Let's see if I can find it. Apparently, this photo was taken of Poland, which is, I don't know if this is, again, we can't, everything seems to be AI these days, but apparently Poland was flooded at some point. I don't know how they took the picture, if it was flooded, but another picture I found here is there was some postcards that were being distributed across Russia at some point. And in these postcards, on the cards, these are supposedly like real images that they're using as a nice image to put on a postcard that you're going to send to your family member or your friend or something, and say like, hey, look, I'm in Russia. I'm going to send you a postcard by mail. And on these cards, if I can find them.
It's funny you said mail. I just did the Moynihan train station used to be the post office across from the old Penn Station, and it looked like the Pantheon. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have the dome, but like,
yeah.
I looked up. I go, when it was built, I'm like, how much were stamps back then? 2, maybe 3 cents. Even if you're doing billions of letters, where's the profitability? I know it's the common man, but 2-cent stamps. Come on, man. 2 cents a letter. Like, you talk about sending postcards, but like, come on, 2 cents to build a Pantheon? It doesn't make sense. Huge.
No.
For 2 cents.
No, make it make sense. That don't make sense. So check this out. Look at this. This is apparently a very old postcard from Russia, but what stood out to me are these flying machines in the sky.
This is wild.
And now think about this. I know everyone seems to send you like a picture of the construction of the buildings, and they're like, hey, check this out. Don't you even look at the construction pictures? Obviously, we made this, duh. Like, look, but no. In the construction photos, one thing seems to be common, a shared theme across nearly all of them, nearly every single one. And I've looked at them myself, researching, is that all the skies are blurred and whited out.
Vanilla sky, they call it? They call it vanilla sky? Well, I don't know if that's the correct term, but that's what they say in the comment section, like when I see the people going back and forth. And it's true. And the amount of people that it looks like they photoshopped them in or painted them in, like in a lot of the pictures, because they're not there. Like, you're rushing a building, you got done ahead of schedule, but you're like, everyone come off the job, we're taking a picture. Like, no, that doesn't go along with the whole timeline. You're rushing and finishing, and I don't know, man. It's with the AI, it's so tough, to say what's true and what's not. But like,
yeah.
I'm as someone who wants it to make sense, you have to be 100% with me. I don't have to present my case to you, not you, like the people with the pictures. Like, this better be 100. Like, it better look like, hey, you're right. I'm sorry. I'll make a video saying I was wrong. Like, I laugh at them. They're almost as comical as the stories.
Yep, exactly. And then obviously you've got the White House, and this is apparently like an old sketch from when people were, on the horse and carriage. So basically the White House started off looking like this. And again, it still doesn't appear like a building that someone of that time would have constructed themselves.
No. I didn't even get a chance to get to the White House. That's how busy that, from the train to the Washington Monument, is heavy. When I didn't even get to everything there, let alone the White House. I'm going back in December. DC needs to be exposed.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to question for sure. And then this thing, they say this is a memorial.
Oh man! Oh, look at that. That's the Pantheon. Look, that they have so many of these things in DC. They said DC was called Rome, Maryland before it was Washington DC.
Oh,
okay. And I didn't know that, and that's why I love the comment section, because one person saying it is like, oh, they're setting me up. When everyone's saying it, like, you know what I mean? Like, listen, know what I love about this too? Also, where it works in our favor. We all have been there where we watch the video online, whatever it is. Social media, like, what are they talking about? We go where? Right to the comment section, right? we want to find the answer. And the comment section will usually tell you, like, oh, the guy is holding a parrot. But the answers are in the comment section. You know what I mean? It's, again, the masses. You know, you can get people, they're not going to let people say the wrong answer in the comment section. You know what I mean? They're willing to jump down my throat. They're dying to jump down your throat if you're wrong over there. So you can get your answers from there. And when people say Rome, Maryland, and everything looks like this, come on, man.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, these structures, they look like they're straight out of Rome. And even these ones are perfectly carved, made from marble, solid marble. And if anyone watching this just goes on YouTube and searches in the search bar for how marble is like cut, or where does marble come from, you can find a video and you can see for yourself. It's not an easy process. Even with these trucks and these lorries, these diggers, the things that are cutting the solid marble from like Greece or Italy, it's still not easy, even today. So how many years ago was this created? They tell us like 1800s or something ridiculous like that. How did we even achieve that back then when we didn't have a car or a truck or something? You know, it just doesn't, none of it makes sense. No.
Like after showing the Rome Pantheon, like how do people, and seeing this, like, hold on, are they cousins? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you not ask? Like, but if it was two people that looked alike, we would ask, are you guys related? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
Now, this picture I found, I don't know, well, someone can comment down below. Is this real? Was this actually dug up in Washington, D.C.?
They said D.C. has a lot of tunnels. A lot of tunnels.
And then you've got another one very similar of a train station in France, which, let me see if I can just find it here on this list, which this one I know was real. You can research it. They found these buildings underneath the train station, and they told us, well, you can do research. It will tell you that these were just simply foundations that were made. Foundations, right? Like you need to go this deep with solid stone structures to make a foundation. In France, in what year? Like 1800? I don't think so.
In Chicago, Seattle, they're buried on top of other cities like it's normal. Like what? Oh, there was another city and we just started building on top. Like what? I'm getting there. I gotta get to Chicago and Seattle, man. They're on the list.
Yeah.
Everyone's on the list. Make it make sense. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, make it make sense, because that doesn't make sense. I mean, you say like building on top of the structures, and that seems to be a thing. It seems to be that has occurred in many countries across the world, and France here in this picture being one of them, which is quite amazing. So that would actually give us proof that there was some type of a flood that covered up these buildings with dirt, because all of this has been dug out. This has been excavated with, they have machinery, they have scaffolds, everything going on. There are more pictures like this that people can find if they want to, you know, dig and do their own research. But yeah, wow, it just doesn't make sense. Some more pictures I'll show you before we finish up, just for the audience, just for the people watching us to just let it marinate in their own minds. So you've got the global exhibitions, Brazil, Chicago, Germany, the Vatican. All of these buildings have something in common, is that they nearly all of them look the same. And these are spread across the whole world, from Latin America to Germany.
This is not from the World's Fair, is it?
These were apparently for global exhibitions. That's what they tell us, for world fairs. Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, the World's Fair. I did them in Queens. One got flagged by TikTok, and like people didn't understand because I was ranting about hot dogs and ice cream. because of the distractions. They build these things, then they destroyed them. Or they had a crystal glass house that went on fire. Like, it's a glass house. What do you mean went on fire? You know what I mean? But then the groundbreaking technology was a hot dog, an ice cream cone. 1961. Belgian waffles. I love all these things, but it's a distraction that they put a wiener in a bun, ice cream on a school. Like, yes, it was ground. But people are like, oh, and they're distracted from the bigger thing of the lies and all the things they've destroyed, you know?
Yeah, it is a distraction. This is another one, a World Fair in 1910 in apparently, let me see, what's my title here? This was in the White City in London, 1910.
Look at that. With the water. Come on.
Yep. And they say this was just made just for show. 1910, just for show.
The World's Fair is so the onion is so many layers. Like you have, and then you got people like me about ranting about hot dogs, but it's like it's a distraction from this stuff. That did this really happen? And why did they destroy everything? Flying cars, and like I said, there's layers and onions. What's real? What's fake? Flying cars, FaceTime, or like they're showing this is what the trucks are going to look like in 10 years, 15 years, and then destroyed the prototype. Like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know. I got to sort. There's so much to sort through with the World's Fair. Like, what was real, what wasn't. But you know, the Eiffel Tower, the parachute jump in Coney Island, like all these hot dogs, ice cream cones, Belgian waffles. Like, I don't know, man. They don't seem to go hand in hand. Eiffel Tower, hot dog.
No. The Palace of Electricity and the Luminous Fountains. This was in Paris for an exposition as well.
This is probably when they did the Eiffel Tower, or said they did, right?
This was 1900, Paris. Yep.
Listen, I really feel the history or what they teach is just explanations for what was there. They have to say something. You know what I mean? Like, right. All right, let's come up with this. Like, all right, we'll say we had all the countries come together and we're going to show what the future holds by having these, like, I see how they came up with the lies. You know what I mean? Because you found all this stuff. I don't know. What the hell are we going to say? You know what I mean? Right. Like, and something always goes back to the Federal Reserve in America. Like, I don't, just something, what, Federal Reserve, it's not even a bank. It's not even a form of government. They work with the government to control our money. Like, something around that time. And, why do they like control? Tax it, like a Great Depression. You know what I mean? Like, I know that's like it just gets me mad, these lies, man.
I hear you. 1893, Chicago World Exposition. Yeah. 1893 with these giant stone-carved angel beings.
She's cold there, and I don't mean that as it's a common thing I see. Like I know it sounds like I was making a joke. If you zoom in again, you can see she's cold. Why are these statues cold? I made them. I even said it yesterday in one of the clips. Like, I was like, why are these, again, not all the statues, but a lot of these female statues are cold for whatever reason. Huge feet and cold. Like, again, just gathering intel for what? I don't know. And, with the World's Fair, people will always tell you, look into Ferris wheels. Like, you know, like, and I don't know if they're pulling my chain, but, like, is it another distraction that they invented a wheel that just turned? Like, I don't know. Like, but when multiple people tell me to look into Ferris wheels, like, it's a funny thing to tell someone, like, hey, when you're done with this, look at the Ferris wheel. Like, but something, is it a distraction? But it's another thing they said they made during the World's Fair, Ferris wheel. Like, all red flags. Like, some sort of deception.
Right. I hear you. Yeah, I agree. They are red flags, and it doesn't make sense. So this is one from another exposition that was destroyed thereafter. And if I zoom in, you can see the people on the stairs, how tiny they are in comparison to this humongous structure from a World Fair. Well, that's what they say. They say they built this for a World Fair just for display to destroy afterwards.
Oh man, like, how do grown-ups go along with this? You know what I mean? Like, and listen, I'm more the exception not having kids, so I don't have to make lies. Like, I lied to the dog. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to lie to kids sometimes. Like, and this is, how do you have little kids and then believe these lies? Like, you're the grown up. How do you believe little kid lies? Like, it's comical to me, man.
Yep. They say this was a festival pool. That's some type of pool.
Oh, yeah, I see that there. Oh, more
Yeah.
water, probably generating free electricity
Yeah.
that they want
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
destroy.
Yeah. Everything going on. Another thing is the waterfalls are very interesting that many of these buildings have. They have these grand waterfalls. Some of them still exist today across Europe and I'm sure in the US too. And they were there when people didn't have the knowledge to create these beautiful waterfalls. You know, people, I don't know, it's like there are some pictures where you'll see the people with their tall hats and their, you know, how they used to dress back then, just sort of acknowledging these waterfalls in amazement, almost like, you know, where did this come from? Who, even the people from then on some of the images you can find from the very early 1900s, late 1800s, they seem confused. You know, people who hang around these spots back then, and even the people, they don't look very familiar with the structures that they're living amongst. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, and the people you describe, the pictures they paint, like they put them like they Photoshop these guys on the wire of the Brooklyn Bridge. Like it's funny. It's all funny to me. You know, it always comes back to just them lying and me laughing. You know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. More exposition universelle of 1900, France, Paris. Another one.
Statue of
Uh,
Liberty, Lucifer looking person right there.
mhm, yeah.
There was this church, and I was passing through a show yesterday in East New York, Brooklyn, and it has a Russian church, and there was never no Russian people in East New York. Like, never, I'm not gonna say zero, but like it reminded me of the picture you just pulled up, and I made a mental note when I was passing. I'm like, I'm coming back here for this. This was an Italian neighborhood, if that, but this with a big like Moscow looking ball on top, like over the top. No, they did it after St. Petersburg. On the quick Google search, I'm like, all right, I'll be back for this one.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. No, it doesn't. But it's been amazing covering all of these buildings and these topics with you, Tom. Thank you so much for being here with us and for being a part of this journey to actually like spread this light to the world so people can start waking up and seeing for themselves without the BS, you know, without being fed lies and just going along with the narrative that's pushed onto people from school, from the education system, from their upbringing as children, but actually learning to think for themselves, use their own eyes, look around, you know, see what's there, and actually make it make sense. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I just want to say, job well done, because we don't know each other. You know, we talked quick. You handling an animal like me, a word stealer. All I want to do is talk, and to handle me so well, and that dance, which, you know, it's a dance when we talk with someone. You know, like, you did an excellent job. I know I'm an over speaker, and you did an excellent job across the board. But just that alone of knowing how I always want to talk, and you handled it perfectly. And I hope I didn't overspeak, because obviously I just admitted to being an overspeaker. But thank you so much. You were great. Thank you for having me, and love to come back and anytime.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. You know, we know an architect. So I think maybe we should invite him one time for a podcast and like do it. So he's not really sure what he's getting into, but he knows he's going to be reviewing like structures or giving his opinion on some old, you know, architecture. But let's see, you know, what his thoughts may be. That would be really interesting.
And either way, the curveball, like, because one of the guys in the library, they're like, yeah, once he heard your accent, you threw him off, because like you have the questions I'm going to ask, but then he's going to see me and then hear my accent and be like, hold on, what does this guy want to know about architecture? But I'll have some facts and some points, and I would love to be on. I want to come on. I want to have professors, excavators, cement people. You know what I mean? Italian masonaries. You know what I mean? Chiselers.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Let's do it.
Yes.
Everyone who's watching this, go to Tom's TikTok and give him a follow. He is here, and you can find his link in the description down below, and check him out because he's helping everyone around the world right now just make it make sense. That's his thing, and that's what we're doing here with these podcasts. This is episode 1 of the Old World podcast, and let's continue for sure. And everyone, if you want to check out my School of Light, it's down below. Your first class is completely free, and we're just helping people to wake up and to heal, to actually create the life they want, to be the person they want to be. And we provide classes every single week, me and my team. I also provide monthly healings as well, so we'd love for you to be a part of that. You can find out more with my link down below, and we will see you hopefully very soon. So Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks for being here, and comment down below. Share this to your loved ones who would love to watch this and find this interesting as well. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Awesome.
Make it make sense.